Thus comes the English with full power upon us, and more than carefully it us concerns to answer royally in our defences. Therefore, the Dukes of Berri and of Bretagne and Brabant and of Orleans shall make forth.
And you, Prince Dauphin, with all swift dispatch, to line and new repair our towns of war, with men of courage and with means of defendant. For England and his approaches makes as fierce as waters to the sucking of a gulf. Then to be as provident as fear may teach us out of late examples, left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields. My most redoubted father, it is most meet we arm us against the foe, for peace itself should not so dull a kingdom, though war nor no known quarrel were in question, but that defences, musters, preparations should be maintained, assembled, and collected, as were a war in expectation.
Therefore, I say, 'tis meet we all go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France, and let us do it with no show of fear, no, with no more than if we heard that England were busied with the Whitsun Morris dance. For, my good liege, she is so idly kinged, her sceptre so fantastically borne, by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorous youth, that fear attends her not. Oh, peace, Prince Dauphin, you are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace the late ambassadors, with what great state he heard their embassy, how well supplied with noble counsellors, how modest in exception, and withal how terrible in constant resolution. And you shall find his vanities forspent, were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, covering discretion with the cost of folly, as gardeners do with ordure hide those roots that shall for spring be most delicate.
Well, 'tis not so, my lord high constable. But though we think it so, it is no matter. In cases of defence, 'tis best to weigh the enemy more mighty than he seems, so the proportions of defence are filled, which of a weak or niggardly projection doth like a miser spoil his coat with scanting a little cloth. Think we King Harry strong, and princes, look you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed upon us, and he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar paths. Witness our too much memorable shame when Cressy battle fatally was struck, and all our princes captive by the hand of that black name, Edward, Black Prince of Wales.
Whiles his mountain sire on mountain standing, up in the air, crowned with the golden sun, saw his heroical seed, and smiled to see him mangle the work of nature, and deface the patterns that by God and by French fathers had 20 years been made. This is the stem of that victorious stock, and let us fear the native mightiness and fate of him.
Ambassadors from Harry, King of England, do crave admittance to your majesty.
We'll give them present audience. Go and bring them. You see, this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Turn head and stop pursuit, for coward dogs most spend their mouths when what they seem to threaten runs far before them. Good my sovereign, take up the English short and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head.
Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting. From our brother, England, from him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you, in the name of God Almighty, that you divest yourself and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gift of heaven, by law of nature and of nations, belong to him and to his heirs, namely, the crown, and all wide-stretched honors that pertain by custom and the ordinance of times unto the crown of France, that you may know 'tis no sinister nor awkward claim, picked from the wormholes of long vanquished days, not from the dust of old oblivion raked. He sends you this most memorable line, in every branch truly demonstrative, willing to overlook this pedigree?
And when you find him evenly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him, the native and true challenger. Or else what follows, you ask? Bloody constraint. For if you hide the crown, even in your hearts, there will he rake for it. Therefore, in fierce tempest is he coming, in thunder and earthquake like a Jove, that if requiring fail, he will compel, and bids you, in the bowels of the Lord, deliver up the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls for whom this hungry war opens his vasty jaws, and on your head, turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, and the pining maiden's groans, for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message, unless the Dauphin in presence be, to whom expressly I bring greeting too.
For us, we will consider of this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother England. For the Dauphin, I stand here for him. What to him from England? Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that might not misbecome the mighty sender doth he prize you at. Thus says my king. And if your father's highness do not, in grant of all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you to so hot an answer of it, that caves and woomy vaultages of France shall chide your trespass, and return your mock in second accent of his ordinance. Say, if my father render fair return, it is against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England.
To that end, as matching to his youth and vanity, I did present him with the Paris balls. He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it, where the mistress court of mighty Europe. And be assured, you'll find a difference, as we as subjects have in wonder found, between the promise of his greener days and these he masters now. Now he weighs time, even to the utmost grain that you shall read in your own losses, if he stay in France. Tomorrow shall you know our mind at full. Dispatch us with all speed, lest that our king come here himself to question our delay, for he has footed in his land already. You shall be soon dispatched with the conditions. A night is but small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence.